Okay, let's do this right here. Welcome to another episode of the Average African Kid podcast. Today we have a call on our hands, Aferisha Magiwa, and he's going to be talking to us about something that's really important, really interesting. Like, have you ever wondered, like, why do you change your name? Why does a lady change her name to the man's last name when he gets married? And it's just something that has been with us, like so many things that we don't really question, but I think we need some more insight on that, and the fact that we don't have to follow that paradigm all the time. So, welcome Ferisha to the podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Um, it's great being here once again. It's always great being here. Yeah. So we can go on with this.
First of all, let's talk about the last names. Why is this last name changing? Why is this a thing that we do?
Okay. Basically, Nigeria is actually a religious nation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, we copied a lot of things from the white guys and the way they see it, and also based on some Bible principles,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, the Bible says, a man shall leave his father and mother, right?
Yes.
And shall cleave to his wife,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Now, the Bible never said a woman shall leave his father and mother, right?
Sure.
But there is a transfer anyway. So at every point in time, a woman is never without a father,
Okay.
right?
Explain
That's
that a
why
bit
you
more.
see that, yeah. So that's why you see that on, like, has a lady will always have the father till like her wedding day, right?
Okay.
And at a point, the father will a lady to another father, which is the man, like the husband,
Okay.
right? But a man leaves his family somehow and cleaves to the wife. So the wife has, like, the lady before marriage has the father's name,
Mm-hmm.
right? But at the time of, like, during the wedding, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lady's father will always hand over the lady to the man,
Mm-hmm.
saying, you are now the new caretaker, you are now the new father, you are now the new all in all.
Mm-hmm.
So, if there is that transfer physically from the previous father to the new father, there's a new birth
Mm-hmm.
and there should be a name change.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's the point about it.
So let's talk about that name change per se. So the convention is that the woman changes her last name to the man's last name. From our discussions, you
Yeah.
have a different opinion. So go for it. Tell us why and tell us what it is.
Yeah. So um in Nigeria per se, we we like changing the lady's name to the man's family name
Yes.
per se,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you look at stuff, you see that maybe let me take Eresner for like as an example, right?
Yes.
Grandpa is not even the Eresner they're talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
The the father of grandpa is not even the Eresner they're talking about.
Okay.
Is one father, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe one of the big guys that did a lot of stuff, like maybe it was very rich, a lot of flocks, a lot of this, and a lot of this. So they started saying a wrestler, and the family started growing and growing, and everybody that comes a wrestler. In that vein,
Yeah. And for those of
a lot
you,
of
for those who don't know, listening, Eris Nare, that is my last name. So yeah, let's keep on with conversation.
okay. So in that vein, a lot of generations that comes through, their name will not be seen anywhere.
Okay.
right? Because everybody is just a wrestler,
Okay.
a wrestler, like answering the great grandfather's name
Okay.
because he had cattle. And don't forget, a lot of these generations that came in their own way, at least they were well to do, and they also made impact, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
somehow their names are nowhere to be found.
Mm.
And also, if the father of the girl handed over the girl to me,
Mm-hmm.
why will she be answering my great grandfather's name?
Mm. Okay.
Why not my name?
Okay. Okay.
I am the new father, or somehow a lot of people will be transferring that new father, as in instead of the man to be the new father, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people now transfers the new father to maybe their late fourth generation grandfather,
Okay.
which to me I don't think is right.
So that is why we're having this conversation. Personally, I don't agree with you on this, but I knew this was going to be a really, really stimulating conversation so that people can have like a bigger perspective. Because from what you were saying, it makes it more open. It's more like there are options out there, and I feel that that's important for people to know because we just see things on face value and like, okay, you take your father's last name and you continue generations down. But now you know that there are options out there. But let's get into this a bit more. So when you talk about the fact that they bear their father's last name, like I'm gonna use the Erasenar name for example, but looking at it from a different perspective, from my perspective, let's take my dad for example, Dr. Toju Erasenar. He passed recently. So can we then say that everybody called him Dr. Erasenar? So in a way,
Yeah,
the way I see it is that over time, that name, if it's established, that name from whatever great grandfather is there, that name becomes a symbol of the family, and it no longer becomes the name of that particular person. It now becomes the name of the whole family. It's basically like a brand name. I see like a brand name because as it goes down the line, gets to my dad, they call him Dr. Erisenar. So by the time I become a doctor, hopefully, or yes, hopefully, I will end up having that name, Dr. Racenar. And when people see that name, Dr. Racenar, they will know, oh, are you the son of Dr. Racenar, the anesthesiologist? I'm like, yeah. Or the son of Dr. Racenar, the dental surgeon, because my mom too is also a surgeon. So in that case, I see it as a call to legacy that you transfer a name that is passed on from generation to generation to the point that your family has some level of consistency over time. So what do you say about
yeah. Well, true. The reason for this conversation is just to be open minded, right?
Yes, yes,
And everybody has got their own take, right?
yes, yes,
Now, come to think about it, because because it's a positive angle that you're looking at it from,
yes,
right?
mm-hmm.
You want to see it this way.
Yes.
What if my father is Abacha, right?
uh-huh. I see what you're
And
saying.
anywhere I say Feorisha Abacha,
Mm-hmm.
like everybody looks at me. Are you the son of the
Yeah.
late president that was a tyrant or something?
uh,
And there's this biased nature already,
yes,
right? And and somehow people don't seem to look at me and take me for who I am, right?
yes,
They keep seeing my father in me. Now,
yes,
come to think about it, Dr. Resnar was a very good man,
yes,
right?
yes,
God forbid if somebody that is a very good man
mm-hmm.
now has a child that is not too good,
Yes,
right?
mm-hmm.
And the child is bearing that name. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's say Dr. Chris, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Chris is the generational name,
Yes,
and a child is bearing that name,
mm-hmm.
and somehow one of the child becomes like a hacker,
Okay,
right?
mm-hmm.
Like this guy that is currently in the US, like Hush Puppy,
Yeah,
right?
mm-hmm.
And somehow you don't know him, but because of the good nature of the father,
Mm-hmm.
like the child just introduces his name and my name is Prince Chris, and you're like, oh, are you the son of that very good man? That
Mm-hmm.
very, oh
Yeah.
yeah. And somehow you lose your guard. And
Yes.
somehow the person takes advantage of you.
Yeah. Okay.
You get. So
Yes.
these things are in like both ways, right?
Yeah.
I just feel everybody, like my stand is this: there should be a family tree,
Mm-hmm.
right? But everybody should answer their own name,
Yes.
right? Like, oh, so that no generation is lost. And also, somebody does not take you for who the previous generation was,
Yes.
whether
Basically,
good or bad.
a clean slate. Like you have, so you can set you design the priorities. Basically.
Yeah. So I also heard something recently. There's this the son of the thief in Benin that time, like Anini,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So recently on TV, I learned that the son is a very good guy,
Mm-hmm.
right? He wanted to start singing about like this bad politicians and all that, and
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Hey, hold it there, you that is that your father is this, and this and this.
Mm-hmm.
Are you the one to come and tell us what is right and what is wrong? Did your father live right?" So you see the problem.
Yeah.
He he is living his life right,
Yeah.
right? He's thought about it and he's decided to say, okay, I will live a good life. But
Yeah.
somehow, because of the bad nature of the father,
That's
the
true.
he can't just do his stuff.
That's true. I see. I see your point.
Basically, there should be a family tree, definitely. No generation should be lost,
Mm-hmm.
right? But for example, now you say your name is Dr. Twoyo, right?
Yes.
Dr. Twoyo Eresnera.
Yeah.
Somehow, if they ask you who is your father per se, like
Mm-hmm.
even if you say Dr. Toyo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they ask where are you from? I'm from this. Who is your father? And you mention it, even if you are not answering his name,
Mm-hmm.
everybody that knows him will be like, oh, that's man,
Yeah. That's
right?
true.
So
Yeah.
I don't like that initial face value, especially in this country, because
Mm.
it makes people do like they just take you for who the previous generation was.
Mm. I see what you mean. I see what you're saying. So in that regard, so how do you do it? You're married and you have two children. So what's your approach?
So my wife bears my name and
Your
not my son name.
okay, your first name.
Yeah, so my wife's name is Cherish Ophel Rishe,
Okay. Okay.
right? And my children, like, they are Favor Ophel Rishe and Hepzibah Ophel Rishe,
Okay. Okay.
right? So basically, they will be like, oh, what is your father's name? They'll tell you, oh, my father's name is Ophel Rishe Amagia,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
And somehow the Amagia is there, even though the Amagia has, like, I think it's the sixth generation even,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even me, I can't even tell the story
Yeah.
of the Amagia, right? So why bear the name of somebody I really cannot tell the story about?
Okay. So you mentioned you don't want the name to be taken at face value, but in that case, once you mention Afirisha, the name is already taken at face value because they're this Afirisha. Oh, you're the son of this man. Oh wow, that's good.
Yeah, but somebody that, what I'm saying is this, like, my children now,
Yes.
like, they're bearing my direct name,
Yes.
not their
Family name.
sixth generation
Yes.
grandfather's name,
Yes.
right? So basically, no problems. When you now ask them who is your father, and they say, oh, Ferisha Magia, and they're not like, oh, the Magia, is it the one that
Okay.
fine,
Yes.
perfect, you get, but not continuing like the sixth grandfather's name for them. And when they give birth, they also continue it, and before you know it, like, it's like the 10th generation is still answering that name,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow nobody even knows the the life of that person
Mm-hmm.
anymore, like the life of the 10th grandfather anymore.
So let's
They
take
can't
it.
even say if go ahead.
No. Finish what you're saying. Finish your line of thought.
So they can't even say if the grandfather was like, that's the 10th generation grandfather, was even a good man or even a bad man already, because somehow history is lost.
Yeah. So what would you say in that regards? Let's take it a few years down the line. Your kids have grown up and okay, let's say your son. he's getting married and he has children. So what would you in that regard? What would his last name be? I mean, you have to make the choice, but what would you say his last name would be?
So basically, um, he has like um a Delta name
Mm-hmm.
and also a Rivers name because my wife is also from like River State,
Okay.
right? So basically, if he wants his children to answer their name and his own Rivers name,
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
Yes.
If he also thinks that, oh, let us start a new generational name,
Mm-hmm.
which is Oferisha,
Mm-hmm.
perfect.
Yes.
That's his choice, and
Yes.
he's his choice.
Yes. So I understand the fact about starting a new generation now, but now, okay, now let's be. So, what's your preference in that regard? I know it's his choice, but what would you prefer him do in that case?
Well, I'll prefer him to go by his name, right?
Okay.
Such that the family tree
Mm-hmm.
just takes a value. You now know that, oh, the last name is the first name of this previous generation. The last name
Interesting.
is the first name of this generation. Just like that,
Okay. Okay.
and it's easy.
I see that. I see that. And the reason that we're having this conversation is that it's such a unique um, method to think outside the box. And it's, at least for me, because I never heard about this until we had this discussion the first time. And I kind of just think it just makes me see things from a different perspective because there's so many things that we just accept as, oh, that's the way things are. It has to be this way because it has been this way. But seeing that there are
Yeah,
other
so
ways to do
that's
things. Yeah, you're
yeah,
saying.
so that's the problem of this country. Even
Hmm.
that's why we're fighting now.
That's why the fight for SARS is on. Yes, it has been, so it is. What
Because it
was?
definitely gets to a point, and there's a breakout,
Yes,
right?
yes,
People are tired of this uh, thing that is being done this way, and somehow there's just a breakout.
yes. So I guess we'll go to the other perspective before we end this. So about the wife changing her name to your last name or the family last name, whichever case scenario. So what would you say? Like, well, how does that? Like, why is her own last name just lost in the whole scheme of things?
Okay, for me, the reason her own last name is lost, like women can also have their own revolution, right?
Okay.
And say, oh, my father gave birth to me,
Mm-hmm.
trained me
Mm-hmm.
somehow, so maybe I should have three names,
Yes.
like Cherish, John, or Ferisha, if
Yeah.
John was the father's name,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Also, they can also think about it this way. We are starting a new project. I'm going with this other man. The like my father handed me over to this person.
Mm-hmm.
I am done with my father's name per se.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start this new project with this generation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if I'm still answering my father's name per se, it will be
Yes.
as though I'm on two sides,
Yes.
right? I
Yes.
want to I want to start this new generation with this man. I want to make it work. I want to be like the Bible says, where he goes, I'll go. Where he did, like his
Mm-hmm.
people shall be mine. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're forgetting this other side and going this way. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a problem. I'm just a free person,
Mm-hmm.
right? If
Yes.
your father's name wants to be like your middle name, no problem. But also, I would think that because your father just handed over,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You should answer my name fully. We build this stuff together, and that doesn't mean that you're not related to that man anymore. Because when you're even filling some forms and they ask you
Yes,
your
that's
maiden
true.
name is your father's name.
That's
So
true.
there's also there's a provision for a maiden name for the woman, but
Mm-hmm.
for the guy, there's no provision.
So in that case, when you say maiden name, so in the context of this discussion, is it going to be acceptable to write the lady's father's first name, or must it be the last name? What do they mean maiden name when they say maiden name in that case?
Yeah, so the maiden name is the father's name, like the name she was answering before. So if she was answering her sixth generation grandfather's
Oh,
name,
just
so
continue
that's her
that name.
maiden name.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
automatically, even in her maiden name, her father is not there.
So, in other words, if the trend has not been started in her family, she can't technically change that in the maiden name to make her.
No,
Yes.
no,
Okay.
no,
Okay. Okay.
no, no.
That's
So
a
her father's name is lost.
that's a very interesting discussion for another day that we can dive into.
Yeah,
So, ladies, if you're listening
yeah.
to this podcast, please bring in your questions. You can reach me on Instagram at ITSEOBA. That is ITSEOBA. Yes, and that is my name actually. So this is a very stimulating discussion and very interesting discussion. Anyone else with questions, any feedback, any inputs into this, please reach me out on Instagram. As we grow, we'll end up establishing ourselves a particular channel, an Instagram page, Facebook as we go on, but we start small and we grow from there.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for this. Like, this has been a paradigm shift for me, having this discussion with you. It makes me going to think about some stuff now. Yes.
Yeah. Once in a while, it's good to think differently. Seriously.
Yes. Like SARS. Yes, the time has come.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that's all for now, folks, for this episode of the Average African Kid podcast. Stay safe and tune in next week. Take care.
Yeah, yeah.